When I am lost inside my mind, sing me the hope I cannot find. When my despair has left me blind, sing me the tune I've left behind. Will you sing over me? Will you sing over me? Sing of the goodness I cannot see. Will you sing over me? When all the grief pours through my hands, when I've forgotten who I am, I can't feel anything but shame. Sing out and give me back my name. Will you sing over me? Will you sing over me? Sing of the goodness I cannot see. Will you sing over me? Will you sing over me? When I sink down beneath the fear, the weight is more than I can bear. Keep singing though I cannot hear. Someday I'll sing for you, I swear. Will you sing over me? Will you sing over me? Sing of the goodness I cannot see. Will you sing over me? Will you sing over me? Will you sing over
Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday afternoon if you're like me in Pacific Standard Time, or maybe you're joining us out east, and good evening to you. If you happen to be further away, perhaps it's Thursday morning for you. Wherever you're joining us from, I'm really glad that you're with us. My name is Bryana Russell, and I'm part of the extraordinary team at Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries. If you're not familiar with us, I like to say we are a small but mighty ministry that equips the global church to support mental health and well-being. So it's May. Yay! In this hemisphere, we're starting to celebrate spring. But May is also important because it's part of Mental Health Awareness Month in the United States. For us here in Canada, May 4th to 10th is Mental Health Week. And if you're joining us from across the pond, you probably know that Mental Health Awareness Week is May 11th to 17th in the UK. So this May, we're trying something new. I guess you could say we're going big. We recognize that mental health is a vital and important conversation year round. It's important that we hold space for this no matter the time of year. But this May, we really want to join our voice with the many to raise awareness around how we in communities of faith can support mental health and well-being. Fun fact, you may or may not know this, but May 4th to 10th is also Maternal Mental Health Week. So I just want to name that we recognize that the word maternal does not fully encompass women's mental health experiences related to motherhood, fertility, and reproductive health. For this reason, at Sanctuary, we tend to focus on women's reproductive mental health. It's just a broader, thicker definition of it. So it is also a really important week for that theme, but we're trying to join it into a larger theme here at Sanctuary for the month. And our theme is learning from listening. Listening, you probably know, is an integral part of relationship, of community, of workplace dynamics, but listening can be a holy act. At Sanctuary, we believe in the importance of listening to the voices of people with lived experience of mental health challenges. There's so much, friends, that the church can learn from hearing people's stories in their own words. How to become a more welcoming community, how to accompany people well, how to walk alongside them, offering presence instead of trying to fix problems. So this month, in addition to highlighting people's stories, we're also going to explore the benefits of listening as it relates to mental health. So in a few moments, as soon as I stop my preamble, we're going to practice listening together in shared community. Why are we doing this live? Well, it seemed like a good idea. And also, I think there's something to being together and listening together. And I recognize that that's hard in this digital era. You're looking at a screen, I'm looking at a screen. I don't know how you're showing up, but my hope is that maybe we can have a little bit of conversation community together by participating in the chat below. So feel free to put your thoughts, your comments, your questions as we listen together to today's conversation. In today's conversation, we're going to hear from Hillary McBride, registered psychologist, researcher, podcast host, and author. And we're going to talk about how we can learn from listening to each other, how we can hold space for women's stories and the importance of that, and where listening can support our journeys with reproductive change or loss. I just want to name here, whether you're watching live or if you come back to this 3 months or 3 years from today, that this conversation isn't graphic, but it does include some discussion of pregnancy loss. So maybe just take a second to check in with yourself. Is this a good time to listen now? How are we feeling as we move into this? So, having checked in with ourselves and noting that I'm so glad we get to do this together, let's begin learning from listening. Hi, everyone. I'm Bryana Russell, the Director of Engagement at Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries. As you may know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this year our focus is on learning from listening. So each week we'll be in conversation with a sanctuary friend to learn from their experience and their expertise on how listening is a meaningful way to care and walk alongside each other. This week is also Maternal Mental Health Week, and I'm here with our dear friend and ambassador, Dr. Hillary McBride. Hillary is a registered psychologist, author, speaker, and as I like to say, podcast royalty.
Oh,
um, Based in Victoria, British Columbia, she's an award-winning researcher, the host of Other People's Problems and Holy Hurt podcasts, and the author of several impactful books, including Holy Hurt and The Wisdom of Your Body. As a sanctuary ambassador, Hillary's heart aligns beautifully with our mission of equipping the church to be a place where people feel seen, supported, and accompanied in the midst of mental health challenges. Hillary, it's such a joy to be in conversation with you today.
thank you for having me. I'm so delighted. I'm so delighted.
Oh, I think you are probably one of the original ambassadors from
I think the
Sanctuary.
first,
The very
maybe. Yes,
first.
it might be, or like
So
first at the same time as John, maybe something like
does
that.
that mean we're
Anyway,
at like 10-month anniversary, 10-year anniversary,
oh
pardon
my
me?
gosh. I think it must be 2016, 2017. 20, no, maybe
Crazy.
it's 2017. Yeah,
Okay.
2017, something in there. Close.
We're
Close.
getting there. We'll have to send
Yeah.
you an anniversary gift.
Oh my goodness. And likewise. Yeah.
I'd love to start with something personal. In your
Mhm.
books, The Wisdom of Body and Practices of Embodied Living, you teach us to listen to ourselves well.
Mm,
And when you think of your own life, can you share an experience of being deeply listened to and what
mm,
that changed in you or what that
mm.
changed of your experience in that moment?
Yeah. I remember a time, it was actually when I was in outpatient treatment for an eating disorder, and I had come through, I mean, so much treatment already, so much clinical intervention. And I had a therapist who she did a couple things that felt really unique.
Mm,
She actually listened to what I wasn't saying with my words, but what I was saying with my body. It was almost like she knew how to hear what I wasn't saying in the room in an obvious way. I think I was really good at that point at like saying all the things I was supposed to say, or anticipating people were just like wanting to check in on symptoms, or like, especially if you're clever or have done treatment for a while, there's an expectation like this is what people are going to ask of me, and this is kind of what they want to
mhm,
hear, and maybe this is how I make them feel okay, or how I
mhm,
like trick myself into thinking things aren't as difficult as they are. And I remember she heard it was like between the lines, or heard what my body was saying. And there was something about feeling deeply attuned to. It was like I could not only could I not trick her, but it was like she really, really wanted to know what it was like to be me. And
mm,
when I think about it now as a clinician, and I teach clinicians and I train in, graduate programs, and this is kind of my world, is like doing the therapy thing, like doing it with my patients, but also training clinicians. I'm pretty familiar with the research literature that says this is the thing that changes things for people. It's not necessarily like what style of intervention or what therapeutic framework you use, or even like what things are happening outside of therapy, but is there a sense of like deep connection and attunement? And it's really
yeah.
hard to do that without hearing the whole of someone, hearing what they're not saying, hearing what their body is saying, like welcoming all of that into the room. And really, it was the first time I felt like, oh, someone really wants to know when my pain is heard. And in my clinical work, this is like what I'm endeavoring to do all the time with people now. Like, what are they not saying? What's their body saying that they don't have words for yet? Can we hear even deeper than the words? That's another way of saying that.
That's so amazing. And it makes me think of something I've heard you speak about. I'm going off script, but I've heard you speak about compassionate witnessing. And
Mm,
it almost seems like that going deeper and hearing beyond the words is almost a witness to your whole person.
yes, exactly. Yeah. And there's like
Uh,
when we think about compassionate witnessing, that's not my terminology, that's something in the clinical world, but it's what we typically say is that you're listening to another person with like your whole body, and you're listening. Like
mm,
if you were to tell me something that was happening for you, Bryana, I would listen to like not just the words you're saying, but what does it move inside of me, which would
Mm.
allow me to say back to you when you said that, my heart sank, or oh my heart like burst, or I
Mm.
felt scared, or I just like wanted to protect you, or here's what happened inside of me. And it's such a different way of listening because instead of making it about us, like, oh, I that happened to me too, or
Yes.
like you said this to me, just like reflecting back, what we're saying is I'm letting your story impact me and I'm showing you that I was actually feeling with you, not just hearing the words, but I was
Hmm.
letting it do something to me and here's what it did to me, which when we
Mm.
get all the way into like what creates change in these encounters, there's something very powerful about feeling felt, not just feeling heard, but feeling like I got you. And so that's kind
Oh,
of the essence of the compassionate witnessing. Like I'm feeling this with you, like I'm letting it touch me. It's powerful medicine.
thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
Um, I'm curious if you've encountered the opposite almost when listening can be hurried
Mhm.
or absent, and how that affects our own experience of healing.
Yes. It's like I'm trying to remember the name of the author who wrote this. I know he's an author and priest, and I'll have to, follow up with you about the quote, but the gentleman writes that listening is so close to loving that sometimes we can't tell the difference. That there is this like when we pay attention to, I mean, so many poets have said this in words more eloquent than I could, but the attention is so close to prayer. Attention is close to love that those ways of communicating to somebody show them I'm with you, you matter, you matter enough to have my attention, you matter enough for me to stay in this with you, and that more than ever it feels like in our world to the currency of attention is a rarity. It's like an endangered, it's an
Yeah.
endangered phenomena. Like our attention is everywhere and kind of nowhere, and to slow down and to feel into those places. And so I just have many experiences myself of feeling like, oh, this was really important. Someone missed this because they weren't really listening, or they just didn't like pause long enough to check in. But I also hear my patients regularly say like that's the hardest, most painful thing is being expected to move on too quick. People don't maybe want to hear the hard stuff. It's hard for them to tolerate it. So where do we go with it? Or feeling rushed, or this funny thing that sometimes we're socialized to do where someone says, "This was hard for me," and someone goes, "Oh yeah, that happened to my uncle." Like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to show you something like something precious, something
Mm.
rare." There's
Hmm.
all this research, literature, which shows us that when the really hard stuff happens, if you can show it to someone, not necessarily like in the graphic details, but like, here's what
No.
it did to me. Like, it shook me, it changed me, it robbed something from me, it terrified me. This is the meaning I gave to it. That it actually helps us close the loop and feel like the really awful thing happened because we can feel safe in the presence of connection and attention in a way that whatever bad thing
Yeah.
happened to us makes us feel really unsafe. And so when we miss those experiences of feeling heard, seen, witnessed, cared for, attended to, it's almost like our bodies don't quite know that the awful thing is over. And attention is the
Mm.
thing that allows us to go, oh, I got heard.
Isn't
Oh,
that
it's
amazing?
over. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. And I love that reference to listening and prayer and that
Mm.
idea of being in communion with,
Hmm.
like to
Hmm.
be attentive to as being in communion with a person as they're sharing this and it's
Yes.
experiencing this. And that beauty of prayer and spirituality to in communing with the divine, how we see
Yeah.
that to that attentiveness that's required. I think one of the things that we're really curious to hear from you as well is that
Mhm.
because this week we've been highlighting reproductive mental health
Yeah.
across the lifespan, those seasons, as a mother to a mother, we know
Hmm.
that those seasons can carry so much tenderness
Hmm.
and joy and grief and hope and fear, sometimes all in the same breath.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think I can probably deduce how listening can support healing and accompaniment in those vulnerable
Mhm.
experiences. But I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more about why it's so important that we listen to those experiences of reproductive mental health.
Yeah, it's interesting in our society how we just don't really make space for those things. It seems like there's almost an erasure of the mother's experience as soon as she enters her matrescence, that to move into the space of becoming a mother seems to signify somehow of like an erasure of the self of the person into this kind of self-sacrificial,
Mm,
almost like objectifying role that society has really not set up the woman to be a woman and a mother. Like
right.
there's something that is forfeited or that's a kind of expected. And so the listening to the experiences, I think, just doesn't happen. And like, what is a good example of that? We throw baby showers. We don't throw mother blessings. We're like, no, no, no,
Mm,
we're going to give you stuff. We're going to give your baby stuff. Your baby. We ask, how's the baby
mhm,
doing? And then there's not really any space for like, hey, how are you doing? And then we
mhm,
see like, okay, let's just say someone's got something going on. They're experiencing psychological distress. They need some support. They get into a treatment program, they get into something, they get access to care. The wait lists are bananas, they're so long. And what is it that we offer them? And this is someone who kind of worked inside maternal mental health for a while,
yeah.
like psych appointments, psychiatric appointments, assessments, medications. Like there isn't a lot of space to just say, like, how are you doing? Like, tell me how you're
Mhm,
doing. Let's talk about all of it. Let's talk about all of
mhm,
it. And I remember my own experience of matrescence of, having a new kid and being at the playground and pushing my daughter in the swing, and I'm on mat leave and it feels like my whole world is totally falling apart, and also like I'm locating myself in a new way for the first time, and like what is happening to me, and
yeah.
having these
Who am
really,
I?
who am I? What's happening? What just happened? I don't know what's going on. And also this is really important, and what,
Yeah.
and having these conversations where I'm like, are we talking about this? Like, are we really talking about, where is the space to say like, hey, I feel like I'm not okay, and also I'm thriving, and like to hold those tensions. And so there just isn't built into the framework around our sociocultural understanding of the maternal experience to make room for
Mm,
like, how are you doing? And that's if you're doing great. It's like we don't know how to deal with that either.
right.
And what happens if you're not doing well? So I think I'm actually forgetting your question now. I just like got so taken up into this, like, but the importance of, I think it was about like, why is this necessary? Why does this matter?
Yeah, to listen to each other's experiences in this,
Yeah.
to hear the stories, I think of maternal mental health or
Yes. Yeah.
reproductive mental health, whatever it might
Yes.
be. And I think I
Hmm.
would maybe follow up because I'm hearing a lot in that makes me
Yeah.
want to ask more
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Again, going
Yeah.
off script because they should never give me a script because I'm always going to be so curious. But just to say, in my own experience, I was one of the ones that they referred to
Hmm.
reproductive psychiatric health.
Hmm.
And the first thing I said when I got into the meeting was, "Oh, you should be helping somebody who really needs it because I'm
Um,
just." Like I'm surviving. I can do this. I can
yeah.
make my way through it. And what I think is so interesting is that you mentioned that tension that we sometimes associate motherhood as being hard, and you just grin and bear it and you just get through it
Right.
because this is the
Right.
sacrifice required of you to be a mother. And so there's
Yep.
almost I wonder, the question in this, Hillary, I'll get to it, is there increased stigma then
Hmm.
in these spaces?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's increased stigma. And this is like, back to the original part of your question. When we listen, we normalize a wider range of experience. We also set
Mhm.
ourselves up for understanding what are resources, what can I expect, what's happening in my community. I think we also destigmatize the distress by talking about it.
Mhm.
And we further enhance the stigma and the distress by not talking about it. So there's something, the
Yeah.
listening is like, it's creating part of the change in our society that I think sets up mothers to do better, like to have more
Mm.
all the things that go along with doing better, like being able to process and feeling in community and not having to hide and not feeling shame and other people catching like, hey, you're not doing so well. Can I help you with this? And coming in close
Mhm.
and allowing the experience to matter. So
Oh, I
it's,
love that.
yeah, we normalize the things that deserve to be normalized. And we can also then spot some of the outliers and get people care without shaming them. But none of that
Mhm.
happens if we're not paying attention to what's going on. And maybe I'll just say to this, like the other side of it is having had pregnancy loss,
Mhm.
man, it's wild to experience the I can't talk about this. It's going to freak other people out. Oh, I should be over this by now. And not feeling like that comes from me, but kind of feeling like that comes from the outside. And knowing like before I experienced pregnancy loss, I knew the stats,
Mhm.
but there's this really interesting thing in losing babies and then kind of telling a few people and hearing people come out of the woodwork like,
Yes.
oh, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. I'm like, oh, what is happening that it's like we can only talk about it in hushed voices when someone's already experienced a loss because like we're trying to maybe
Yeah.
protect people from the pain. There's shame about. I just think that there's too much silence about too many things. And really at the root of that is this problematic societal narrative embedded in motherhood that says there's the erasure of the woman and all her pain and all her experiences and
Mhm.
the variety, kind of the
Mhm.
eclipsing of her for her kids. And I think we can change that by actually listening and attending to all of the stories in the mothering
Mhm.
experience, including the hard ones, including the beautiful ones.
Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
I I imagine that pregnancy loss also is a grief when you're carrying it in secret.
Mhm.
It's a harder grief to carry, I imagine, when it is in secret or when you don't feel that you can share it as openly or if people don't know how to hold it, which
Yeah.
is maybe a great segue to the scripted question that I have
Mhm.
to
Let's hear it.
transition to,
Yeah.
which is that one of the discomforts that the listener, the friend, or the company or the church can experience when somebody does have one of these experiences of deep pain is that we want to offer something immediate to fix it or to
Yeah.
solve it.
Yeah.
Can you offer some thoughts around how we can manage our own
Hmm.
impulse to fix and solve and change and make things joyful? I mean, that's me. I always want to crack a joke. That's my
Uh-huh.
impulse.
Uh-huh.
But how do we manage that so that we can really listen in a caring way that doesn't push people through as problems to be
Yeah.
solved?
I like that what you're already saying, which is can we like acknowledging that there is something going on inside of us that motivates us to say things that are meant to be helpful but don't actually help. And usually we do that
Mhm.
because we don't know how to manage our own distress and no one gave us tools and we're just doing to other people what was done to us. So if we can recognize, wow, I'm really quick to try to make this better
Mhm.
and see that like, oh, that's actually about ourselves. That's about
Mhm.
me and my longing to make it feel better for the other person. That's already a huge piece of work that we've done. Like, wow, bravo,
Mhm.
you're aware of that. And we say all sorts of things like,
Yeah.
God won't give you more than you can handle,
Mhm.
or these things that maybe people had said to us, and they're just like they come out really quick, or we quote a Bible verse, and being able to recognize that that is something inside of us that is usually like wanting to take the pain away can be a great place to start because we can even say that. Like,
Oh.
I'm noticing I want to do anything I can to take this pain from you. And notice the difference. Like, as you're listening to me, if I say, like,
Mhm.
well, like that you like God's got this, like God's got this, it's no problem. Or if
Everything
I
happens for
say,
a reason.
yeah, everything happens for a reason, versus if I say, you know what, listening to you, I can think of all the things I want to try to say to make the pain go away.
Mhm.
I wish I could do anything in the whole world to make the pain go away. And my heart is breaking.
Mhm.
Oof, and I wish I could take that away. And I wish I could take yours away. Like that actually creates intimacy and care. That actually
Mhm.
creates usually a sense of I'm with you. And it's
Mhm.
the I'm with you that is the real medicine. not the, popping out of the pain to tell a story and tie a bow on it. Like that actually doesn't resolve the pain. That just kind of distracts us from it. But
Mhm.
when we are with someone in the heartbreak, neurobiologically, we have been designed to actually feel soothed by that. So can
Mm.
I be with you in it? Okay. And if all I can say is like, I just wish I could take this away and my heart is breaking, there's your empathy, there's your
Mhm.
companionship, there's your accompaniment. Also being able to have a few phrases like just like in your back pocket. Sometimes these things we just don't know what to say, and to be able to say, I don't know what to say, but I'm hearing you and it's mattering to me. Or
Mm.
how are you feeling about this?
Mm.
I'm so glad you're telling me. I want to keep knowing, right? Is
Mhm.
about continuing to pave the way for connection. And those things will always get us further in the relationship with the pain than trying to make it go away ever will.
Mm. Gosh, there's so much to love in that, Hillary. And I
Mhm.
think it's one of those practical things that I think we can probably
Mhm.
all adopt and practice a little bit more, just to say that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, my heart's breaking
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. That's right.
Um, I am so grateful that you had space to have this conversation and for your ongoing support of the work that we do in equipping churches
Mhm.
to be safe places for people
Yeah.
experiencing mental health challenges. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. This work matters so much to me. If at the end of my life,
Oh,
churches are safer places for us to have our actual lives and our actual pain, I will be
mm,
so proud of joining the
mm.
sanctuary of doing this work. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't know if that's the right way to close
That's right. You're like,
it, but
yoo-hoo,
go listen
woohoo. Like,
well.
I'm so glad we have Mental Health Awareness Month. Like, yeah, what's the catchphrase we say? I don't know, but I'm glad we're doing it.
Oh, I'm so grateful to have learned from listening to you. There we go.
Mm.
Okay.
So grateful to have felt listened to by
Oh.
you.
Thanks, Hillary. Friends, thanks for listening to Hillary with me in this moment. I am reminded each time I watch that of the deep work that I still have to do in order to have those phrases in my back pocket. Like, gosh, that sounds so heartbreaking. I want to be with you in this. Can I be with you in this? Um, I'm wondering as we just conclude our time together, there's no questions yet, but that's okay. This is our first of many lives together. We can warm up to this new idea of building community on YouTube. That's totally fine. We'll take it at the pace with which it comes. But I'm curious if you just maybe can sit with your own self and say, what, when was I deeply listened to? Do I have a memory of being deeply listened to? Is there any reflection we can take from that in our own experiences and then apply them to our church and to our community and to our relationships? I'm really grateful that you joined us. And I do want to make a plug that this is the first of many. So we're going to be sharing these conversations with you. We're also going to be spotlighting voices of lived experience through film. So now, since you're here with us on YouTube, click that little subscribe button down wherever you might find it. Find it there, click it. You'll get access to more of our content this month. We're going to share more conversations in this format with friends of Sanctuary like John Swinton and Kay Warren. If you get a chance, hop on over to our social media pages. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook. We're going to share facts and data about mental health and faith throughout the month. I'm really excited about this too. Each week, we're going to offer a prayer or blessing. And I think we share so much content on social media. Maybe you have friends who just send you memes that cheer you up and remind you that you're loved, or reels. I just love that. And I think the prayers and the blessings that we offer are a great chance for you to share with somebody that maybe you want to be walking with. They're a great way of saying, hey, I'm thinking of you. I'm with you in this. We're excited this month because we're dropping a devotional on the YouVersion Bible app about depression. Stay tuned for the release date. And the other thing that I just want to make a plug for is that we're releasing a song. So exciting. If you've followed Sanctuary for a while, you know that we partnered with the Porter's Gate a few years ago to create an album called Sanctuary Songs. But this month, we are partnering with artist extraordinaire and good friend of Sanctuary's, Temitape, to release a song called Dawn Chorus on May 22nd. So look for that wherever you stream your music. We're going to come back next week. I hope you'll join us. And we're going to have another YouTube live featuring Reverend Dr. John Swinton in conversation with our beloved Sanctuary UK director, Sarah Taylor. Come for their accents, stay for the content. I mean, how often do we get to listen to a wonderful UK accent and a wonderful Scottish accent? Or maybe I should have said British. Sarah, you can correct me after the fact. I will listen to that correction. If you're interested in learning more about where listening fits into spiritual care, what we can learn from listening to people who have experiences of severe mental illness, and hearing more from John Swinton's perspective as a practical theologian and researcher, you won't want to miss that live. So please join us. As I mentioned at the beginning, our work equips churches to support mental health and well-being, and we do that primarily through our free online resources. Our flagship resource is called the Sanctuary Course, and it's free, I'm going to say it again, 8-session small group resource created to help churches explore the connection between faith and mental health. And I like to think of this conversation we had today, although I did most of the talking, so next time we can work on that maybe, as a way to begin speaking about these things, as a way to begin listening in our own communities, to our own lived experience and to those that we are walking beside. So the Sanctuary Course is another great way to open up that conversation in your small groups, in your church. Each session typically includes a short film featuring lived experience, theologians, pastors, and clinicians. There's reading material from an excellent course book. There's guided group discussion questions, and there's reflective practices such as prayer, art reflections, and some other invitations for you to do as a group. So as we end this time together, we're going to send you off with an invitation to maybe think more about running the Sanctuary Course in your community with our trailer. But let me say, it has been such a joy that we got to spend some time listening from learning from listening together. Thanks, friends.
Something had happened that triggered so much anxiety for me that my mind couldn't stop, and I was getting increasingly depressed. I felt like life was about to end.
I was struggling with anorexia and bulimia. I was so broken.
I'm not in any danger, and I'm just breathing like something bad had really happened.
I thought, I'm always sad. If you dig deep, there'll be this river of sadness that flows underneath everything.
Sense of the world closing in on me. Horrible, horrible experience.
I started to have delusions. I was not reading reality properly. I was really scared.
I thought, there's no way out of this.
It's hard to see a way that this could be different, but hang in there, get help, because it really can be different.
The way I performed or looked externally didn't seem to align with what other people thought depression looked like. They're like, oh, well, you're okay. Oh, well, you're in school. Oh, you're getting A's. You're fine.
Culturally, mental health issues is just not recognized in the Asian American experience. There was certainly a kind of a stigma attached to it.
I felt so much shame. I couldn't let somebody else into that world.
It's critical to normalize. Don't stick our heads in the sand and not recognizing there is someone in your congregation that is dealing with some issue related to mental health.
We all need to lament together, articulating our sadness and recognizing that even in our sadness, God is there.
Your struggles, your suffering, your diagnoses do not exclude you from belonging. Those things are welcome to be talked about.
Resist the temptation to seclude, to stigmatize people experiencing mental health challenges. Listen deeply, come alongside, and treat as a holistic, multifaceted person.
Mental health is important because it cuts to the very heart of our experience of being human beings.
do some work and do some learning. Find empathy and compassion for real people having real experiences.
When there is a hand that can guide you through God, it will be inspiring to know that there's someone there who may be able to help you.
God is here, and I think a really good church community would say, and we are here too.